Fiona. So today is the day I'm going to write my JLPT N5 test. It's about 7:30 at the moment, and registration starts at 8:30 and ends at 10, but I want to get there earlier rather than later. So yeah, I'm a little bit horrified, but I feel like at this point, whatever happens, happens. There's nothing I can do about it. If anything, I'll just do it again next year if I feel like it. So yes, good luck to everyone writing the JLPT test today.
Hey guys, it's Fiona here. So today I did something pretty exciting. I took the JLPT N5 test. For those of you that aren't familiar with JLPT is the Japanese language proficiency test, and it's held in several countries around the world, and you basically get a certificate if you pass from the government or the Japanese government or something. I'll leave it here. Sorry, I woke up at like 6 this morning and I have not napped or anything. I wanted to film this as soon as I got home so I didn't lose any of the information. There's the N5, N4, N3, N2, and N1. N1 is the hardest, N5 is the easiest. So yes, I took the easiest test. When I was Googling online to see like how other people did it and see if there were any videos about it, I couldn't really find anything. So I'm going to be making a video talking about my own JLPT experience and a quick dive into some of the tools I used to study for it. Now, keep in mind that I won't know if I passed or not until early February. So right now, this is just me talking, not some JLPT N5 certified lady, just Fiona who took a Japanese test today and she's praying. So yeah, of course I wasn't able to film much during the actual process itself because we were in an exam room, but I did manage to film a little bit, and I'm gonna talk to you guys how the day went basically and what you can expect if you're interested in taking the test. I have a feeling it's pretty similar. So all levels of the test were held at the same place. It was held at a university nearby. Mine started at 8:30 and finished around 1:15-ish. I know the higher levels finish a little bit later because they need a little bit longer time. So basically registration started from 8:30 to 10, but I wanted to get there on the earlier side. This is the first time I've been here, so I don't even know where the heck I'm going. By the way, York University is a giant mouse maze. I don't know how you guys figure it out in there. And so I wanted to be on the safe side. I got there at 8:30. Registration was in the giant foyer of the school. So basically when you walked into this foyer, there was one long table at the back with several people, and in front of each person there was Japanese language proficiency test N1, N2, N3, N4, N5, and the different people were lined up depending on which one you were taking. So you had your email that they asked you to print out and bring with you, and some ID. They actually surprisingly did not take my health card. They instead took my driver's license, so I suggest bringing a health card, driver's license. I saw a lot of people with passports, so if you want to be on the super safe side, then I would bring a passport. He grabbed my ID and then he printed out a schedule, which I'll show you guys a picture of here, handed it to me and said, okay, at 10 o'clock go to this building and that's where you'll be writing your test. So I kind of just waited around. I talked to a really nice lady from Ohio, and she was taking, she was taking the N4, kind of waited around, then I decided to get up early and go to this other building that I had to find to see where I would be taking my other test, because I didn't want to wait to the last minute and then wander off to try and find it. One thing I did notice that I really loved is that there were people of all ages and ethnicities taking this test. It was really great, especially I saw but I saw a few older people, like I would say in their 50s and 40s, and it was just like so great for them, because sometimes people think that you're too old to start learning a language, and that's never true. You're never too old to start doing anything, especially learning a language. So that was really great to see. So if you're scared that, oh, well, you know, it's gonna look weird, or, you know, I might not, like, I don't think I really should, I'm too old for that, then no. Go do it. It's a great experience. Pass or fail, it was a great experience. I found my other building where everyone who was taking the N5 was going to be taking this test. I believe there were about 100 people taking the N5 test. So as time went on, people started collecting, and if you're nervous about not finding your way, there were so many helpful people standing around throughout the school, giving directions, really friendly and helpful. There were lots of signs on the wall, so it was like, you could definitely tell where you were going. I did not, and I'm horrible with directions, I did not really have an issue finding my way to where I was supposed to take this test. Finding the actual first registration for it was a different story.
And it's voted?
Yeah.
So it hits about 9:30 and the doors open and people start to pool into the room. It's this big lecture hall with numbers on different spots of the desk. So your registration number matched up with the number on the desk, and that's where you were sitting. So you can't just pick willy-nilly anywhere. So you go into the room, we had to drop our jackets off at the back and our bags at the front, phones on silent. They made it really clear that if your phone rings even once, you're disqualified. Even if your watch beeped. She even said that. I was like, wow, that's really intense. So make sure to turn off your phone, turn off your watch, if that's a thing, just turn off everything. Here's actually a funny story. So I saw people walking into the room and I looked at my paper and I looked at everyone else's paper, and for some reason my paper looked different from everyone else, or at least I thought it did. So I was panicking. I walked up to the lady at the front who was like basically running the N5 test. I showed her my paper. I'm like, is this the right thing? Where's my registration number? Because I didn't know where to sit because I couldn't find my registration number on the paper. And she, you know, like, where do I sit? And she's like, this is not the paper you need. You need the test voucher. You need to go back to the foyer. You need to go back and get your test voucher. I'm like freaking out because the exam is starting in 8 minutes, and they make it really clear that once the doors close at 10, the doors are not opening again, and you're not allowed in. Once the doors are closed, no one's allowed in. Well, you can leave, but you can't come back in, obviously. So I was like freaking out, and she's like, you can't write this test, or you can't write the exam until you get this test voucher, even though I clearly had my email paper right there with the $70 and everything. Just so I'm freaking out, and I'm like, A, I paid $70 to take this test. B, I've been studying so long, and you can only take it once a year, so if I couldn't take it for this one reason, I would have had to wait another year, and I would have had to wait until December. So I like book it. Like, I'm running so fast that when I get to that foyer, I feel like I'm about to throw up, and I have to tell myself, I'm like, Fiona, don't throw up on the floor. That's gonna be really embarrassing. So I wait in line, and I'm like panicking. It's like 7 minutes until the exam starts, and my building is like down the hall, out the building, across the road, another set of stairs down the hall. So, you know, like, it's not like we're right next door. So I get up to the front, I show the guy, I said, I need my test voucher, where is my number for my seat, blah, blah. He's like, what are you talking about? It's right there. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah. I said, no, the lady who was running my test said that this isn't what I need. He's like, no, it's right there. And I'm like, okay, man, I'm taking your word, and if she's still angry at me, or not angry, but if she still says it's wrong when I get back there, then I'm calling you. So I book it all the way back there. I'm like panting, I can barely breathe, everyone's staring at me because the room's full at this point. I run up to the front and I said, he said that this is the only paper I need. She looks at it, she's like, oh, sorry, yeah, you sit over there. And I was like, I mean, at that point, I wasn't angry. I was just so happy that I was still able to write the exam and that there was nothing wrong. I didn't care. I was like, you know what? It's over with. I'm still writing the exam. Let's do it. The instructions start at 10. There's a few people in the room helping out, and they're handing out the pamphlets and the little... Have you guys heard of Scantrons? I'll insert a picture of what they look like, but it's like 3 sheets of Scantrons because there were 3 sections of the test. I think it was vocab, grammar, and listening. So the first part was vocab, which was 25 minutes long. The instructions and handing out papers took roughly 30 minutes, and you know, they had to come around and check individually all of our ID and like look us in the face, be like, are you the right person? There's a big clock on the wall and you can see it ticking down to like 10 a.m., 29 minutes, 55, 56, 57, and as soon as 10:30 hits, so she's like, let's begin, and everyone just like, you can immediately hear the papers rip open. Everyone's like, because you got 25 minutes to write this. The vocab part was pretty easy. It was basically like, what's hiragana that makes up this kanji? What's the kanji that makes up this hiragana? That was pretty easy. I got through that pretty well. I was like, yeah, I got this. Maybe there was 1 or 2 questions I didn't get, but I was like, yeah. 25 minutes long to do that, and then we get a 15-minute break, so they collect our papers and you can go outside, use the bathroom, and check your phone. And very quickly, during our first break, I actually met someone who recognized me. If you're watching this video, I just want to say hello. It was so nice meeting you. I hope you did well on the test. It was really nice meeting you. You're super cute and sweet. Yay! So anyways, so we come back into the room at a certain time, and again, if you're not there, the doors are closing and you're not allowed to write the test. So we all find our seats again and sit down, and the grammar part starts. This part, I believe, was about 40 minutes, 45 minutes long. And again, the clock's ticking down, and immediately she says, go! And we all rip open our papers. That part was pretty good too. I was like feeling okay. I mean, it's definitely vocab was my strongest point. Grammar, I was like, yeah, you know, like I got this, a little bit confusing here and there, but like I'm feeling okay. And then we get another break. This one is 20 minutes long. Get up, use the bathroom, and then we come back into the room. We sit down. She gives us the instructions and hands out the papers again that take like another 30 minutes. And my favorite part comes up, listening. But listening, I know it's my weakest point. I probably should have studied it more. So anyway, basically she said that once the CD, this listening was 30 minutes long. And she said once the CD starts, we can't stop it, so everyone needs to sit down. If you have any questions, you need to ask them now or forever hold your peace, basically like that. So I'm like, oh boy, here we go. It's one big stereo playing throughout the entire room, and listening like really killed all my hopes and dreams. Even though it was the N5 level, I don't think it was so much that it was difficult, but it was one speaker. They said the question once, and then if you didn't get it, too bad, so sad. And there were people coughing, I could hear papers flipping, and then I started panicking, and then I started panicking because I was panicking, so I couldn't focus. And then you zone out for like 2 seconds and you miss like 15 minutes of the exam, basically. It was intense for me personally, the listening. I was like, oh boy, this is definitely gonna be my weakest point. This is definitely gonna be the make it or break it for me, like if I'm gonna pass this exam or not. And if you continue writing afterwards, you immediately get disqualified. So as soon as she says stop, you gotta like drop your pencils, you gotta stop, drop, and roll, you gotta keep your hands 5 meters away from the desk and be like, I promise I'm not writing. That was the third and last part to the exam. We grabbed our stuff from the front, grabbed our things from the back, and yeah, that was basically it. I went out to the foyer, I met my dad, and I went home. Now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what I found helpful and what I found really worked for me. Now before I start, if you guys are interested, Erin and I do have a video up on our channel from about a year ago talking about tips on how to study Japanese. That's a much more thorough explanation. If anything, it's just a lot of resources. but I'm just going to go over what I found helpful, what I used to prepare myself for the JLPT N5 test. So first of all, I'm going to show you guys the book that I use at the moment, and I'm still using. It is the Genki 2nd edition volume 1. I meant to do a review on this on our blog like a long time ago, but you know, just school life and laziness and procrastination. So yeah, this really helped. I personally really love Genki. I love the cute little drawings in them. I find it's very easy to understand. It still covers everything you need to know. It may not be full in depth, but I personally find it really good. It makes you practice a lot of what you use. This really helped me learn basically all of the grammar and even covered a bunch of the vocab. Along with the Genki 1st edition, I used the Genki 2nd edition 1st volume, oops, sorry guys, workbook. If you can't buy these in a pair, I wouldn't worry about it, but if you have the money and you feel like splurging, I do recommend it. I find that this helps, but this really reinforces the material and really drives it into your head. It's basically questions every time you finish a certain page. There's basically questions based on the material you learned. And at the back there's some hiragana, katakana, and kanji practice too, which I actually found I found the kanji bit especially really useful for the JLPT test. So yeah, I definitely do recommend these two textbooks. These were my go-to. I wouldn't use these just on their own to learn entirely all Japanese, to just teach yourself. I would use and branch out other resources, because if you just use these, your knowledge will be quite limited, but they're definitely a great place to start for beginners. Oh, and I forgot to mention too, with both of these books, there's a CD too, so you can practice listening. So like for example, in the workbook, there's some listening questions, so that's really great too. It's I think I got these off Amazon as a package for about $60. I got them off the Japanese Amazon. It's cheaper than the normal Amazon, and I got them for about $60. Personally, it's really worth it in my opinion. I'm definitely gonna get the second volume when I'm done. So this here is, I found really useful. I got this off of Amazon for like $8 or something. It's basically a mock exam of your exam. There's one for every level. The questions are obviously different because they couldn't actually make a replica of the exam, but it's almost like so exact. Like, one thing that I found really helped is some people when they got the exam is because all the questions on the exam are written in Japanese. So to actually understand what to do, you need to read the Japanese here, which for me was a struggle enough on its own. I was like, what do you want me to do here? And you're like, there's little examples, but sometimes you need like more of an in-depth explanation. So some people, when they got the exam, they kind of were like, not only confused by the content, because that enough is a challenge, but they were also confused on like the book itself and what to do, which kind of slows you down a little bit. I really recommend getting this. It's like $8. It covers all the grammar, vocab, and the listening in it. It's pretty exact to what your exam will be. Again, there's a CD in it. This was really helpful. I really recommend this. For those of you that commute to school or have a long commute in general, this is not dead time. You can use this time to your advantage. It takes me an hour and a half to get to school. I could sit there and stare at a wall for about an hour and a half and just think of wanting to go home and cry. But no, I downloaded some kanji apps for on the go. I don't think these require internet. I'll leave the names of them down below. I have a Samsung Note 4, by the way, but like almost every app's available for the iPhone. It's us that have the issues, us Samsung users. So one of them is called JLPT N5 Vocabulary, and the other one's called Obenkyo. So yeah, these really helped reinforce the kanji into my head, because I found that before the exam started, I was like when the exam was approaching, I was like, wow, I realized that I know no kanji, and you need to know like 100 kanji for this exam. And this really helped. I really recommend getting some apps to on the go, especially if you have a commute, or even if you're just lying in bed and you're bored. These so helpful, and they're flashcards, so it's really a great way to get it into your head. Now, for listening, aside from the listening that came with the mock exam and the Genki series, I recently signed up for, they have free examples too, but I really suggest like being able to unlock the full package. I recently signed up for a Japanese, God, what the heck is it called? Japanese Pod Lesson 101, I think. If anything, I'll leave it down here if I'm incorrect. So it's basically podcasts. At the beginning, there's a short little skit of 2 people talking in Japanese, and then they're roughly 15 minutes long, and then throughout the rest of this podcast, they're breaking down those sentences and talking about what they said, and there's like little PDF notes you can download afterwards. I usually play those in the morning when I'm doing my makeup, so I can kind of like listen to it. That was really helpful. It helped me a lot with listening. Obviously, I needed to work on that more, but that was not the Japanese Pod Lesson 101 fault. That was my fault. I just ignored the listening concept a little bit. Now I know for the future. But yeah, I really do recommend getting, I think my subscription was like $7 a month, and you get like almost everything. So it's really great. If you're serious about learning Japanese, then it's something I really recommend. That's pretty much it. Fingers crossed to know if I pass fingers crossed, hopefully I pass. I don't know if I pass or not until, they said early February. My marks will be online, and then, or if I pass or not, it'll be online, and then I'll get a thing in the mail later in March. So fingers crossed. I really hope I pass.
Alright guys, so thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and
follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and everywhere else the description tells you to.
I haven't done that in a really long time.
I know.
It feels really weird.
Goodbye!